Hello everyone, my name is Ankush Jain and in today's video I will show you how you can deploy an ASP.NET Core API on Amazon Linux instance. I will also show you how you can connect this API with a custom domain. Not only this, we will also see how we can run this API with HTTPS. Yes, you heard it right. We will see how we can use Let's Encrypt to run your API with SSL certificate, and all this SSL certificate will be free. So without wasting much time, let's get started.
Running an ASP.NET Core application on Amazon Linux EC2 instance with custom domain and SSL certificate. Hello everyone, my name is Ankush Jain and in today's video, I am going to show you how you can deploy and run your ASP.NET Core application with a custom domain on Amazon Linux EC2 instance with SSL. So without wasting much time, let's get started. So I have divided this tutorial or this video in multiple steps, so you can find all the steps on this page. I will provide the link of this page in the description below. So let's start with the step one. So first we are going to create an EC2 instance, and which is Amazon Linux 2023 instance. We are going to create and deploy a .NET 8 based ASP.NET Core API on this Linux instance. So in order to create an instance, just go to the AWS console and select EC2 instance, select instances, click on launch instance. Here I am going to use this name, my web server. In the application and OS images, select Amazon Linux, and here select Amazon Linux 2023 AMI. Amazon Linux 20, Amazon Linux 2 AMI is now older version, so we are going to use Amazon Linux 2023 AMI, which is the latest one as of now. So I will select this. Okay. Next, I'm going to select the architecture. Here we have two options, x86 and ARM. ARM is Graviton based processor, x86 is Intel based processor. I'm going to select x86, reason being because not all the instance type are available in ARM. So ARM only supports certain instance type but does not support all the instances. That's why I'm selecting x86 for now. Okay, I'm going to select T2 micro instance, which is the free tier eligible instance. Now for the key pair, if you don't have key pair, then just click on this button, create a key pair, select the PEM format, which is supported both on Windows as well as Linux, and click on create key pair. Since I already have it, I will select this. Although we are not going to use this key pair to SSH our EC2 instance, instead we are going to use System Manager. I will show you how. In the network setting, click on Edit, select VPC. No need to select any subnet. Auto assign public IP. Just select Enable, which is the default value. Create a security group. I will create a security group with the name My Web Server SG. And in the description, which is required, I will put the same. As of now, no need to create any security group rule. We will create this rule later point of time. In the configure storage, since this will create a root volume, so we are going to keep the value of 30 GB, and that is also free tier eligible. Now we'll collapse this. In the advanced detail, few things to remember. IAM instance profile. So I'm going to select IAM instance profile, that is access EC2 via SSM role. This may not be present at your end. So what you need to do, you need to go to IAM and click on roles. And why I'm going to select this instance profile, because I want to access this EC2 instance to perform the SSH without opening my port 22. So what I will do, I will create an IAM role, and here you need to create an IAM role, but I have already created this IAM role, so I will select it and I will show you which policy I have used. So you can see Amazon SSM managed instance scores. So this policy basically I have also specified here. uh, configure SSH, create an IAM role with this policy. And you can go to this link and read about this policy. So basically this policy will have to attach to our IAM role, and IAM role we have to attach to our EC2 instance. That way we will be able to access our EC2 instance via system manager. So that's all you need to do. The second thing you need to remember, purchasing option, that is not compulsory. Since I am going to create this EC2 instance for demo, I am going to use spot instance because this demo is going to we will have it for 1 hour or 20 or 30 minutes, so I don't want to pay much cost. That's why I am going with spot instance. But if you are running a website which might have to run 24/7, then you don't need to select this spot instance. It is good for demo and POC purpose. Then user data. So scroll down to the bottom here, user data. User data is something, so whenever your EC2 instance starts, it will run this script before starting the instance, so during the boot up time. So it will not run this every time you stop and start the instance, but it will only run this script when it is first started, or during the boot up process. So this is once in a lifetime of EC2 instance. So what we are going to put here, we are going to put this script here, which I have taken from this .NET 8 support on AWS guide. And you can go here, you can find this script here, which you can put in EC2 user data in order to install .NET 8 when the EC2 instance is launched. So you just need to copy this, and if you paste this script, you will see that this line is coming into two lines. So you have to bring it into one line and then have to run it. So I will just copy this and will uh, run here in paste here in user data. And if you don't want to do that, you can just copy the script from here as well. If later point of time .NET releases newer version, then you have to modify this script. So this is only valid for .NET 8, but at later point of time, the process of creating and running .NET application will be the same, but you have to update the user data script. So now we are good. I will just click on launch instance. Okay, so the instance request has been sent successfully, and I will open this and I will close the previous screen. So you can see this instance state is pending, and the reason it takes a while because we are running user data scripts that is downloads .NET 8 and start install it. So now it is running. So what we can do, we can simply click here and just go action and connect. Here we get multiple options. So SSH client, which you can use if you have downloaded if you have created the PEM file, then you can use this on your sorry this command on your Windows instance or Windows machine or your Linux machine. But we are going to use session manager to connect with the instance. So this button is enabled. And why this button is enabled? Because we have created this role and attached this role to EC2 instance profile. So I'm going to close this one as well, and I will connect this. So it is establishing a connection with my EC2. So now the connection has been successfully established, and I can just type who am I here. So I'm an SSM user, and I will close this as well. And now I would like to check whether the .NET is installed on this or not. So what I will do, I will just do .NET info, and you can see I'm getting the response .NET 8 two runtimes, which one is ASP.NET Core, another is .NET Core. So yeah, .NET 8 is successfully installed on this EC2 instance, uh, and we have both the ASP.NET Core runtime as well as .NET Core runtime. ASP.NET Core runtime is required to run web application. .NET Core is runtime is required to run non-web applications. Okay, so all good, and I guess we are done with the step one. Sorry, one thing we need to do. We have to configure our security groups. So I will go back. I will select instance. I will go in the security. I will select the security group here, and here I will click on edit inbound rule. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select HTTP and port, sorry, port 80 is all automatically selected. Then I will select, okay, let me zoom out little bit. So I want to allow this port 80 from anywhere. So I will select this. I will add another rule. I will select HTTPS, and then port 443 is selected, and I will also allow this to be accessible from anywhere. So I will save these rules. So why I'm doing it, because I want, because this web EC2 instance I am going to install a web server, and I want to allow my APIs or web application to be accessed by outside. So that's why I'm creating these ports, these inbound rules, and allowing connection on port 80 and port 443. However, at later point of time you can remove this port 80, because if you just want to allow SSL connections on your website, so there is no need to keep this port open. But for this demo, we are going to keep it open. Okay, so we are done with the step 1. Now moving to the step 2, install Nginx. So we will run our .NET website or a Kestrel server, but we are going to set up Nginx as a reverse proxy. So you have to run this command on latest Linux instance on Amazon to install Nginx. We are going to use DNF package manager. So uh, there are two types of package managers in Linux. One is yum, another is apt. Yum has an improved version which is DNF, so which is what we are going to use. And why we are going to use it, because if I just run this command, okay, so how I get to know that I need to use DNF rather than apt? So if I go here, I will clear all this and I will run this. So you see that there is an ID like Fedora, and Fedora uses DNF package manager. That's why we are using DNF, not apt. Okay, so I will again clean this and I will install Nginx. I will run this sudo DNF install Nginx. We'll go back, paste it, and install it. I will say yes. Okay, this is installed. Then I will again clear this. So I will run these three commands. So first I will check the status of the Nginx service. So I will paste it, and the status is disabled. So what I'm going to do, I will just enable this service. So service is enabled. Now I will check the status again. Status is enabled. Now what I'm going to do, I will just start the service as well. Service is started. So now I will check the status again, and you see the service is running and active and running. Okay, so the server Nginx server is working on our EC2 instance. How to check it? We will go to our EC2 instance, select the instance. I will select this public IPv4 DNS. I will paste it, and it should work probably. Yeah, it is working. We are getting a response, welcome to Nginx. So we have successfully installed a web server on our EC2 instance. So I think we are done with the step 2 as well. Moving to the step 3, now we are going to create a .NET API. We are going to publish that API and copy the published artifact on S3 bucket. And why we are doing it? Because at later point of time we will download the artifacts from S3 bucket on our EC2 instance, and then we will run our .NET web application. So let's move to our Visual Studio. I'm going to select a new project here, and API selected. You can select API and ASP.NET Core API. Select next. I will select the name Weather API. Okay, click next. I'm going to select .NET 8 long-term support, and so I'm not going to configure it for HTTPS because we are going to run it on HTTP, and HTTPS will be handled by Nginx, and Nginx will offload SSL certificate and then will send the request via on HTTP protocol. So we don't need to handle HTTPS at Kestrel level. That's why I will untick it, and I will just click on create button. So it is creating a project, and yeah, project is now created. So this is a simple application that has a weather forecast controller in it, and we will just test it by invoking that controller. Okay, as of now I will close this. Next thing I am going to do is I am going to publish this. So I will right click on this and click on this publish, and I will select folder, then next, then I will select this. So this is the path where it will be published and finished. So this has created a profile. Now I will click here show all settings. So I will take a look at few settings that are essential to understand. First, select release configuration. Target framework should be .NET 8. Deployment should be framework dependent because we have already installed the framework .NET 8 on EC2. Then target runtime should be Linux x64. This is very important because we are not running ARM based Linux instance, so that's why I have to select Linux 60 x64. And then you can just select this delete all existing files prior to publish. However, I know that you are going to do this entire work via CI/CD or writing your own automation script, but yeah, just to know that these things you also have to select, or you have to consider when you are writing the automation scripts. So I will just select save, then I will click on publish. So it is publishing my application, and I will close this. Okay, the application is published. I will just open the folder which is here. So what I will do, I will just copy this, right click on this, send to compressed zip, and I will rename it to, sorry, weather API zip. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to upload this in S3 bucket. So if you don't have any S3 bucket, then just please create one, because we have to use that bucket to publish our artifacts. So I have this my personal S3 bucket, Ankush Jain bucket. So I'm going to upload the artifact here. I will go here. Okay, this is the right path. I will select API and then upload. So it is uploaded here, and I will close this. So inside this bucket, my bucket, I see one object which is this. Now what I will do, I need to download this. So okay, let's see what are the steps remaining. So I think we are done with the step 3. We have created .NET API, we have published it, and we have uploaded it to S3 bucket as well. Moving to the fourth step, we what we are going to do. So we have to create required directories on our EC2 instance. So this is the commands that I have written, and what they are doing, let's understand. So first I will move to the root with cd, then I will create two folders on the root. One is www root and another is temp, www root temp. Www root will be the folders where we will copy our application, we will run our application, and this would be a temporary folder where we will download the artifacts from S3 bucket. So okay, so that's what we are going to do in step 4. This is very straightforward step. So what I'm going to do, I will go back to system manager. I will again clean all this, and I will just copy this cd slash. So it will take me to the root, and I can run pwd command to check my where I am, what is my current location on this command line. So I am at the root. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to sudo mkdir. Okay, sudo I'm using to get highest privileges, so that I'm running these command as an admin. Super user, su means super user. Okay, sudo mkdir www root. Okay, so the folder has been created. Another folder is temp. So you can see I have run these commands, and I can see ls. So ls list all the directories. So you can see two directories are here, www root, www root temp. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more folder inside www root where my application will be living. So that is sudo mkdir application name. So for application name, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use weather API. Sorry. So I'm going to first go inside www root. Then here I will run sudo mkdir and I will copy the name which I have pasted. Sorry. Okay, so it has created a folder weather API which is as of now empty. So we have created required folder uh, in order to work with our application. So step 4 is also done. Now moving to the fifth step, and fifth step is something which you might have to repeat, because initially you deploy your application, that is fine, it is running, but you will also create multiple controllers. Later point of time you will modify your application, then you have to redeploy your application. So step 5, these commands you can use at that point of time as well. So what I'm going to do here, I will just explain initially, then we will run these command. So I'm just going to the root, then I'm going to this temporary folder, then here uh, I'm not here, I'm just going there, but I can run these commands from root as well, because I am using root here um, in the beginning of the path. So what I'm going to do, I'm just removing everything which is present in this www root temp folder, and I'm downloading the published API here, and I will use the pre-signed URL here. So I will just download the artifact which I have copied here inside that temporary folder, and then what I will do, I will also copy, unzip that published zip into this application name folder which is inside www root, and before unzipping I will remove the previous application, and then I will also remove the published API zip which I have just uh, mm, I have just copied into temp, or I can rerun this command as well, so it is up to you. So I will go here in cd slash, okay, I will clean everything again. So next thing we are going to uh, no need to go here, we will just clean up everything from the root www root temp. As of now it will not have anything, so it says that there is no such directory, files or directory, because it is empty as of now. So that's why. Now what we are going to do, we are going to run this command. Okay, so I will just go here in my and download this. Here I will have to copy pre-signed URL. So what I will do, I will select this, I will click on action, I will share with a pre-signed URL. Here I will select 60 minutes. So maximum this URL that I'm going to create right now will be valid only for 60 minutes. From here I can copy this URL and I can paste it. Okay, so I need to copy this file inside temporary folder www root temp. So what I will do, I will just go here and copy this. So as of now you can see my current location is root, so that's why I will just go to cd www root temp. Okay, so my current location now is this folder. Okay, and now what I will do, I will run this command. So what it will do, it will download the file with published api.zip as the file name, and if I run this ls command, you can see there is a file published api zip file. Okay, so again I will clean this up, and now we have to copy this published zip file to our main directory, also unzip it there. So we will run this command. Okay, so I'm not running this command because essentially as of now there is nothing, but how it will look like, if because uh, if if the application is deployed once, then it will have the the version 1 of the application here. So the application name that we are using is weather API. So this is the folder where the application files will be there. So you have to remove the files before you upload new files. So as of now there is no file, that's why I'm not running it, but I'm running this command. Okay, so again I will use the weather API as application name here, and what it is doing, it is unzipping the file which is currently in temporary directory to this location -t. Okay, yeah, here. You see, it, the files have been inflated to this www root weather API, and these are the files. Now I will remove this zip file as well, because right now I am here, and I will run this sudo rm star. It will remove all the files. So okay, so now everything is clean. We have only one location where we have files with, which is weather API folder. Okay, so now we have copied our application code in a directory. Now we are going to run this application. So run this application, we have to run this command sudo .net assembly name dll and then URL. So what I'm going to do, I'm clean this and write the command here. Assembly name is something which is the weather API, because when we published it, it has created this weather API DLL. So I will just copy this. I will close this, or I will replace this with here. And the URL, we are not using localhost, because if we use localhost here, it will not be accessible from internet. So that's why we have to use 000. And here I guess I have to update the code. I will update because since Nginx is already running on port 80, so it will create conflict. So you will have to use 5000 or a port which is not 80. So I'm using 5000. I will update the document as well. So here, okay, so this is the application. But before that, I have copied it. But before that, you have to be inside that folder, inside this application name folder. So I will go to this cd slash www root slash weather API. Now I will run this command. Before running this command, oh sorry, I would like to show you one thing, that as of now, if you access 5000 and if you access a weather forecast controller, which is not working, it will not work. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to run this command. So it is working now. It is now listening to port 50, and if I rerun, we should get, probably we will not get. Okay, I know the reason, because in security groups we have not configured port 5000. So we will go there, sorry, here security groups, TCP allow everyone port 5000. Okay, so the moment we do it, if we reload it, it will work. So you can see our API is running on our EC2 instance uh, with 5000 port. But this is just, we have just started. Don't consider it to run the production API in this way, because what will happen if I, at the moment, if I stop my EC2 instance and restart it, the API will not restart it, because you won't be able to run the API, or you won't be able to consume this API here, because we have run the API with this command sudo .net with, and even if I do control C terminate this, the process will be terminated and you won't be able to access the API. So this is not the right way, because every time you want to run the API, you have to run it with this way. So we have to make a mechanism by which whenever your EC2 starts, the background service should automatically start the API. So that's what we are going to cover in step 7. Okay, configure the application to start automatically. And what I have done is I have referred this documentation from Microsoft. I have provided the link as well. So I have curated the steps that you need to know from this document, from this documentation, and I'm going to explain this. So you can also refer this document if you want to dive into details. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a daemon service, and that, I guess this is also not updated. So uh, let me uh, let me go back and see, update this document, and then I will resume the video. Okay, so I'm back. So actually the document was updated. I had not just refreshed it. So now you can see the port is also been updated here, and you can see this, the command is also up to date. So what we are going to do, we have to create a daemon service, and daemon service is similar to a Windows service in Windows environment, which is basically started when a Windows machine is started. So we have to run this command in order to create a daemon service or Linux service for our web application. So what I will do, I will just go here and I will keep the daemon name as web API service, which is a kind of a Linux service. So I will okay, web API service dot service. So I will copy this and run this command. So what it is doing, sudo nano will, sudo is using admin permissions. Nano is basically we are opening a nano editor. So I will clean this. I will open this and paste it. So this is a editor which is now opened. And what we are going to do, we are going to copy this entire section, which I have also, uh, kind of referred from that documentation of Microsoft, so you can just go and read out it. So what it is essentially doing, it is setting the working directory as this one, which is our application directory. And what it will do when the service will run, it will basically start the .NET application by running .NET and the similar command that we run just in a previous step. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to again copy and paste here and replace the placeholder. So in the application, I will replace the application name whether API, assembly name whether API DLL, application name again here as well, which is our working directory. Now application name, this is the system log identifier. So if you will analyze logs, you will find the logs with this naming there, so you can identify that these are the logs that belongs to this service. Okay, so we are good. You can change the description here, but I am just fine with the one which I have. Okay, so what we have to do, I'm going to close this S3 bucket. I will paste it, and once I paste it, just type or enter Control O to write out. So Control O and press enter. Once you have pressed enter, it says wrote 14 lines. Now click on Control X to get back. Now run the command sudo cat to print the content of this file. So you see, if the content is this, it means the file has been created successfully, has been written successfully. Next, you have to, since you have created this daemon service, it is similar to the Nginx service, so you have to see this, check the status. So I will just go here and run this sudo system sctl and check the status and our service name, which is, I will remove this. So our service name is this. Yeah. So this is our service, which is as of now disabled. So similar to what we did in previous step, we will enable it. We enabled it. Again, I will check the status. It is now enabled. Then I will start this service. So start this service. Okay, so now again I will check the status. So the service is running and you see it has started our application on port 5000. Now I run it, you see it should be running. Oh, it is not running. Why it is not running? Mhm. It is exposed on, okay, it is not running because here we are using localhost. As I said you earlier, if we use localhost here, then it will not work. If we use 0.0.0.0, then it will work, because we have, once we expose an application to external world over the internet, we have to use that IP address, so it will not work. Though we are good, it is not working because we are not going to access this 5000 port directly uh, from the internet. Because this 5000 port is basically exposed by Kestrel server, and we have installed a Nginx server, so we are going to use Nginx server to access our web application, and Nginx will redirect our request to or proxy our request to this application or Kestrel server. So we have done it. So I guess we are done with step 7. We have configured the application to start automatically. Now we will move to the steps 8. Okay. So now in this step 8, what we are going to do, we are going to update our Nginx configuration to point our ASP.NET application, ASP.NET Core application. So again, this section has been used by taking the reference of this. So I have again provided the link. You can go to this link to dive into um, dive much about this, how I have got these configurations. So first run this run this command. Where is Nginx? So I am going to come here. Okay, what is okay? So I will clear this. Where is Nginx? So you see Nginx is installed and you find certain directories which belongs to Nginx. Then you just need to run this command. So this is the main Nginx configuration, and inside this configuration we need to put this section. So what this section is doing, this section is creating a server which is listening to port 80, and it is proxying the request to our .NET Kestrel server. Okay, and here we are using server name as you know underscore, which is a wildcard, so any domain can use this. So that's what we are doing. So we are just basically going to update this configuration in this configuration file. So we'll run this. So I will just run this, and okay, so this is the file that has been opened into nano editor because we are running sudo nano and opening this file. So what I will do, I will copy this, and here I will just okay, I will just remove this HTTP section and this server section and also the below section as well. I will remove everything. Okay, I will type Control K to cut. So we just have these 4 items. I mean this much of items on this page. Now I will right click. I will paste. I will press Control O. I will press enter, and I will press Control X, and I will, to make sure the content is copied successfully, because I'm not much proficient in Nano editor, so I will run this command. So you can see the content has been copied successfully, and yeah, so I think uh, I have to just restart our Nginx server. So we'll use this again, the similar command. Instead of start, we are just using restart. So I will run this. Okay, Nginx is restarted. So instead of using 5000, I guess I have to remove it and directly run this weather forecast. So it should work, and it is working. That means our requests are now going to Nginx. Nginx is forwarding our request to our EC2 instance, and it is working. Okay. Fine, we are good. So I think we are good with the step 8 as well. So we have configured our application to start automatically when an EC2 instance is stopped and restarted, and it is configured to run with Nginx as well. Next step, what we are going to do, we are going to use a custom domain and point that custom domain to this application. So what I will do, I will in the step 9, I will go to Netlify because I have my domain here. So your domain might be on Route 53 or GoDaddy. So you can go there. So this is coderjourney.com, which is my personal website. I will create a record. I will just use a CNAME, a subdomain API, and will use my EC2 instance IP address here. So I will select this. I have this private IP, this public IP. If you are running this application, you know, if you need to run this application 24/7, then you should use a elastic IP, which will not change if you stop and restart your EC2 instance. But for now, just go with a public IP. Here the value, use 60 seconds and just save it. Okay, so I have done it. Now if I open this API slash coder johnny and slash weather forecast. Let's see it works or not. So it is not working. Why it is not? It is using https, so I will just use http. So it should work, or maybe it takes some time because it, the DNS will take some time to get that record uh, in flow. Again, it is using https. So why it is using https? Okay, anyway, we will wait for a minute, then we will see. Okay, so we have done this. So okay, I'm pausing my video and we'll get back to you once it is working. Okay, so I'm back, and the reason it is not working because in this browser there is some issue, or maybe it has cached because I have done the POC before this creating this video as well. That's why it has cached the uh, IP address, the IP address that belongs to this API .coderjourney.com. So that's why what I did, I just opened this in a incognito window, and there it is working. So you can see it is working. So now we have pointed our custom domain to this our .NET API, which is running on an EC2 instance. I will close this and I will try to run it here. Last try, I will empty cache and hard reload. Okay, so this will clean the cache and I will run it. Okay, it is working on my main browser as well. So now you might be thinking like this is working. Anyone can create a record and use the same IP and point over API. So if you want to restrict that, you can update the server name. And so what how you can do it? So basically you have to go to the system manager, you have to clean it, and then you have to go to a specific path where we have updated this. So you have to open this sudo this nginx configuration file, and here in the server, okay, here in the server, uh, instead of slash you should use api dot coderjohnny.com or your domain name. Okay, so if I do it like coderjohnny1, or sorry, coderjohnny dot in, and I just control O, enter, control X, and again verify it. So it is coder johnny API coder johnny in, then it should not work, and I can try it whether it is working or not. It is working. Why it is working? It should not work ideally. Oh, okay, let me do caching. Okay. Yeah, I have to check why it is not working, but I had tried it earlier, and as per the documentation which is mentioned here, server names. So we can use these server names to specify the domain name. So the one which we are using as of now is allow every domain. This is one, this allow catch all server, so it allows every domain. But if we specify something, then it should not work. So I don't want to waste my or your time as of now to troubleshoot this issue, but this is something that you can do and test it out to make sure that it should only work for your domain. And I will just retry again. It is working. So maybe I have to restart my Nginx server. So I can just give that as a retry. So I will see the, okay, I'm restarting my uh, server. So the server is restarted. Now it should not work. Oh, sorry, it is working. It should not work. It is again working. Okay, anyway, you can troubleshoot it, but this is a property which you can refer server name to restrict the access to specific domain. So now we have created our application and running with a custom domain. Now the last step is the running this application with with SSL certificate. So what we are going to do, because we have updated a nginx root configuration file, so ideally it is not best practice to uh, modify the root configuration file when we are working with a you know our production ready API. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove or uninstall the Nginx and will reinstall the Nginx. With that, what will happen? The root Nginx file will be reset and will commit into its initial state. So I'm going to just clear up all this, and I will just type paste. Then it is going to be uninstalled, and then I am going to reinstall it, and I'm going to reinstall it. So this is back to basics. We are now it should not work because entire thing has been reset, but it should work or not. It should it is not working. Okay, but our instance, if I just use this, then that should work. What is not working? Okay, maybe I have to restart the Nginx server, so I have to just go there and run those commands. So I have to just enable it because started it and start it. It should now work. Okay, now api.johnny.com should work. Yeah, it is also working. So it is now pointing to the default Nginx folder. So we are not going to touch it. So what we are going to do, we are going to go in step 10, and in the second step we have to create a file, because since we are using coderjohnny.com domain or whatever domain that you are going to use, you have to create a file inside this directory etc/nginx/conf.d, and the name of the file should be domain name.conf. So what you should do, essentially you should copy this, and you should copy this, and since my domain is coderjohnny.com, so I will keep my root domain, not api.coderjohnny.com, and do conf. Okay, and I will just use sudo nano because I'm going to open this file in nano editor. I will clear. I will run this command. Okay, I am now in the editor. What I need to do, I need to copy this part because I'm creating a dedicated configuration file for my application or API. So I will just copy this, and I will use. Since I have removed these items because they are not going to work, I will tell you why. Earlier, these HTTP grade variables were part of our root configuration, and we had added this HTTP section here. That's why it was working. But the root configuration section, I mean this configuration file, the domain specific configuration file doesn't support HTTP section. So that's why we can't create that variable and use it here. So I am as of now removing this variable. So you can just remove this HTTP grade, and and I guess these are used for if you are dealing with the WebSockets, so that's fine if you are not dealing with the WebSockets. So just copy this content server block and just paste it here. Right click here, Control O. Here is the file name. Enter. Control X. Just make sure that the content is written properly. Cat. It is fine. Okay. So now you are good. Now, next thing you need to do, you have to just restart the Nginx to make sure that your settings are correct. You have to run these commands. Okay, so why it is failing? In configuration file test failed. Unknown configuration upgrade. Oh, I guess this is here. So we have to remove this as well. Uh, this connection upgrade as well. So what I will do, I will again go here, and we'll remove this connection upgrade and copy this. But before that, I have to go here. I have to run this paste. Okay, then I have to, okay, then let me completely delete everything. Control K, then control copy, control C, paste, control O, enter, control X. Okay, now this is fine. Now I have to run that command which I yeah to which I need to make sure that configurations are correct or not. So this is the command. which will basically restart and the Nginx. So I will run it. So you can see the configuration file syntax is okay. The test is successful, so we are good. Next thing, we need to install Let's Encrypt, which is the thing where we are entering into the SSL world. So I will just clean this again. And since we have a dedicated configuration file uh, for our domain or our application, so now we are going to install our uh, Let's Encrypt client, and I will run this command pest sudo dnf install certbot, which is certbot is a utility which is basically mm, kind of a Let's Encrypt utility that is used to provision SSL certificates. So I will just press Y. Okay. Next is we have to run this command as well. Okay. So if you stuck somewhere here, you can go into this documentation, which I have provided the link as well. So yeah, I mean everything I have just copied and pasted from somewhere, so from the internet and just curated into this video or this document. So we have installed a Let's Encrypt client. Now last thing we need to do, we have to run this command, and I will just copy this command here. What it is doing, it is basically using certbot and using Nginx to specify that our domain is this. So our domain is api.coderjourney.com. This is the one which for which we want to generate our certificate. So this is one. Okay, and also this will be the one which would be the server name here. So if we just use print this cat, so yeah, we'll just run this command. So you see, oh, it is again, I have to update it. So because I just did not update it here, so I will just run this. Sorry for this nano, and I will have to update this value. Okay, api.coderjourney.com, then control O, enter, control X again. Now it is updated, so the domain name is updated. So now I will run this certbot command -d/domain, and I will just run this here. And you see it is asking for my email address, so I will provide my email address so that I can get the notification if this domain needs renewal. I will say yes, yes, and it is requesting a certificate, and it may take a while. So yeah, so deploying certificate, and congratulations, your certificate has been, you have successfully enabled HTTPS on this website. And if I go to this website and I type weather forecast, you see the API is working, and here I'm getting this, and connection is secure, certificate is valid, api.coderjourney.com, which is created at 5:36. Oh, sorry, it is create issued on 5:36, maybe Saturday. On Friday, I don't know why it should 6:36, but I don't know why it is coming 5:30. Maybe the instance time is 5:36. Anyway, so this is how you have enabled or you have deployed a website on Amazon Linux EC2 instance. You have exposed it with Nginx, and you are running it with SSL. So that's all you can run a website on EC2. But yeah, again, every this process was entirely a manual process. I know that you are not going to do it this way if you are running a production website on EC2, but you know how to do things, then you can also automate those things. So I hope you this video, please do like this video if it has really helped you, and please subscribe my channel for more such content. Thank you very much.